Tell me, have you ever noticed that we never long for someone more deeply than when they pull away from us? This paradox, as old as human desire itself, reveals a disturbing truth. It is not presence that creates longing, but absence. So the real question is, how can you make a woman think about you, even if right now she seems uninterested? The answer is not found in cheap tricks or shallow games, but in a profound understanding of human psychology and the silent emptiness that every soul carries within. In this video, I will guide you into that mystery, where attraction meets shadow, and where the ego wrestles with the need for connection. Comment right now with this phrase: "It's not what we give that creates longing, but what we take away." And subscribe, because at the end, I will reveal a truth that very few men dare to face. Across centuries, thinkers and poets have wrestled with the mystery of desire and absence. The ancient Greeks spoke of eros as a force born not from possession, but from lack, the hunger for what is not within reach. Later, existential philosophers like Kierkegaard and Sartre revealed how longing is inseparable from freedom, how our yearning for another is tied to the void within ourselves. Even mystics have whispered that the heart only awakens when it is denied what it craves. Yet, in our modern age, we have forgotten this wisdom, blinded by instant gratification and superficial validation. We chase presence, messages, and attention without understanding that longing grows only in the silence between two souls. To make someone miss you is not about feeding their desire, but about awakening it through absence, mystery, and restraint. This truth has always been there, hidden in plain sight. At the core of every human connection lies a paradox. We seek closeness, yet we are drawn most intensely to that which escapes us. The more certain we are of someone's presence, the less our mind lingers on them. The more uncertain we feel, the more our thoughts spiral back into their absence. This is not manipulation. It is a fundamental mechanism of human psychology. If you want a woman to miss you, even if she appears uninterested today, you must first understand the architecture of longing. Desire does not thrive in abundance. It thrives in scarcity. And what is scarce in our modern world? Genuine presence, deep silence, and the courage to step back when everyone else is desperate to chase forward. Think about this. The mind has a peculiar habit. It rarely treasures what it already possesses, but it obsesses over what it cannot fully grasp. When a woman feels she can predict your every move, when she knows you will answer instantly, when your presence becomes routine, you dissolve into the background noise of her life. But when she senses distance, unpredictability, and a space where her imagination must wander, suddenly you transform from ordinary to magnetic. The first principle, then, is simple but difficult. Stop giving what is expected. Create space. Resist the reflex to overcompensate. Let silence become your ally, because silence is the most powerful amplifier of memory. Psychologists have long spoken about the Zeigarnik effect, the human tendency to remember unfinished experiences more vividly than completed ones. When something ends abruptly or remains unresolved, our mind circles back to it, replaying and magnifying it. This is why cliffhangers grip us in stories, why unfinished conversations linger in our heads, and why absence often feels louder than presence. If you wish for a woman to miss you, you must leave behind unfinished echoes, moments that do not fully close, words that leave space for interpretation, silences that invite her imagination to fill in the gaps. Instead of over-explaining yourself or giving constant reassurance, allow her mind to wander. What she imagines about you will always be more powerful than what you reveal. But let us go deeper. Beyond psychology, there is a philosophical truth. We are not drawn to people simply for who they are, but for the way they make us confront our own inner void. When someone steps back, they awaken in us the uncomfortable awareness of lack, the reminder that we do not fully control love, that we cannot command presence. This awakening is painful, but it is also intoxicating. It forces the other person to wrestle with their own vulnerability. And here lies the paradox. If you chase someone endlessly, they never encounter that vulnerability. They never feel the risk of losing you. But when you withdraw, when you embody restraint, they are suddenly confronted with the possibility of absence. And it is that possibility that makes the heart ache. Now, let's consider how this applies in practice. If a woman seems disinterested in you, your instinct may be to chase harder, to prove your worth, to overwhelm her with attention. But this instinct is poison. The more you push, the more she retreats. The more you beg for validation, the less valuable you appear. Instead, you must embody what I call the principle of dignified distance. This does not mean coldness or cruelty. It means self-respect, expressed through restraint. You give just enough to show warmth, but you do not flood her with presence. You are there, but not always available. You answer, but not instantly. You care, but not desperately. In this subtle restraint, you awaken the ancient mechanism of longing. And here is another truth. Attraction is not built by proving yourself, but by allowing mystery to live between you. Mystery is oxygen for desire. When you reveal everything, your thoughts, your availability, your routine, you suffocate curiosity. But when you reveal slowly, when you allow parts of yourself to remain hidden, you force the other person to lean forward, to wonder, to guess. A woman begins to miss you when she realizes that you are not fully within her grasp, that there are parts of you she cannot access unless she invests her energy. This is why those who are too eager to please often fade into invisibility, while those who hold something back become unforgettable. Consider the lives of poets, artists, and philosophers. Many of them understood this instinctively. Rainer Maria Rilke, the German poet, once wrote, "Love consists of this: two solitudes that protect and border and greet each other." Notice his choice of words. Solitudes, not constant togetherness. Longing is born not when two lives collapse into one, but when two souls remain distinct, separated by a sacred distance. In that distance, imagination grows, desire flourishes, and memory magnifies. If you erase all distance, longing cannot survive. Yet I must warn you, there is a dangerous illusion that many men fall into. They confuse withdrawal with indifference, restraint with neglect. To make someone miss you is not to vanish, nor to punish with silence, but to balance presence with absence in a way that feels intentional, dignified, and magnetic. Too much absence, and you dissolve into irrelevance. Too much presence, and you suffocate her curiosity. The secret lies in rhythm. The rhythm of giving and withdrawing, approaching and retreating, revealing and concealing. This rhythm is what keeps her mind restless in your absence. Let me ask you, have you ever had a song stuck in your head, not because you loved it, but because it ended mid-note, or because you only heard a fragment of it? This is how memory works. The human mind is wired to obsess over incompleteness. And if you embody that incompleteness, if you allow moments with you to end before they are fully satisfied, then she will think of you when you are gone. She will replay the fragments, trying to complete the story, in her head. That is the architecture of longing. But there is more, something even deeper that many men do not want to hear. At the root of this power lies not strategy, but self-mastery. You cannot make someone miss you if you are terrified of their absence. If your entire sense of worth depends on her attention, then your distance will be poisoned with insecurity, and she will feel it. Real attraction requires a paradox. You must be willing to be missed, which means you must also be willing to be forgotten. Only when you detach from the desperate need for her recognition can your absence become powerful. Otherwise, your silence becomes a cry for attention, and nothing kills desire faster than desperation. This is why the path begins within. You must cultivate presence in your own solitude. You must learn to find meaning in your own company. You must be able to sit in silence without reaching for the phone, without begging for attention, without collapsing into anxiety. When you master your solitude, your absence carries weight. When you fear solitude, your absence carries weakness. And a woman can feel the difference. One awakens longing, the other awakens pity. So, if you truly want a woman to miss you, even if today she does not seem to care, you must first stop trying to force her desire. You must live in such a way that your energy is valuable, that your time is scarce, that your presence is not something given cheaply, but something earned. You must cultivate silence, mystery, rhythm, and dignity. You must embody absence as a form of presence. Because here is the paradox. The more at peace you are with being unseen, the more unforgettable you become. And so, the first half of this truth is clear. Longing is born in absence, magnified by silence and sustained by mystery. But the story does not end here. In fact, what comes next is even more unsettling, because the deeper we go, the more we realize that missing someone is not about them at all. It is about the mirror they hold up to our own inner emptiness. And if you can understand that mirror, you will not only know how to make a woman miss you, you will know how to awaken desire in anyone you encounter. We must now descend into the deeper layers of this truth, because the surface is never enough. Longing is not merely a psychological trick, it is an existential force. To make a woman miss you badly, even if today she shows no interest, you must learn to see desire not as a game of tactics, but as a mirror of the human condition. And the human condition is haunted by one reality. We are all incomplete. We are all missing something. Every bond, every attraction, every ache of the heart is just a reflection of that incompleteness. When you understand this, you realize something profound. She does not miss you. She misses the version of herself that only awakens in your absence. The ego hates this truth because the ego wants to believe it is in control. The ego insists, if I text more, if I prove my value, if I show up constantly, she will want me. But the opposite is true. The more you try to fill her with your presence, the more you suffocate her experience of lack. And without lack, longing cannot exist. The ego's obsession with control destroys the very conditions of desire. It is only when you release control, when you are willing to let silence speak louder than words, that longing is born. And here lies the paradox. You must step back not to manipulate her, but because stepping back is the only way to awaken the dimension of the soul that feels. Let us look at history. The great mystics of both East and West often spoke about the power of divine absence. The Sufis wrote poetry about the beloved who withdraws, who hides, who disappears, so that the seeker may yearn more deeply. In Christianity, St. John of the Cross described the dark night of the soul, a period of divine silence in which absence creates an unbearable ache for presence. Even in Buddhism, the idea of emptiness, that nothing is truly graspable, produces not despair, but awakening. Across all traditions, absence is not a void, it is the womb of transformation. And if this is true of God, it is also true of human love. For longing is the echo of absence, and absence is the teacher of desire. Modern culture, however, has forgotten this wisdom. Today, men are taught to flood women with constant availability, to respond instantly, to prove, again and again, that they are worthy. But this creates the opposite of desire. It creates predictability, comfort, and eventually boredom. When there is no tension, no silence, no gap, the soul falls asleep, and a sleeping soul does not miss. This is why so many men find themselves invisible. They never give space for imagination, never create distance for desire to breathe. Now let us go even further. Missing someone is not a passive state. It is an act of imagination. When she thinks of you in your absence, she is not recalling facts. She is building stories. She is replaying fragments, exaggerating details, projecting fantasies. This is why absence is powerful. It forces the mind to invent, and the mind always invents something more magnetic, more haunting, more irresistible than the reality in front of it. To make a woman miss you is to understand that memory and imagination are more seductive than constant presence. You must not compete with her imagination. You must activate it. How do you activate it? By becoming unpredictable, not chaotic, not manipulative, but genuinely free. When every move of yours is expected, her imagination has nothing to do. But when you live in such a way that she cannot fully map your world, cannot fully anticipate your rhythm, then you invite her mind to wander. Perhaps she wonders where you are, what you are doing, who you are becoming. And in that wondering, longing takes root. The tragedy is that most men give up this mystery too quickly, exposing every thought, every insecurity, every routine. But the man who knows how to hold something back, the man who is comfortable with being partly unknown, he is the one who lingers in the mind long after he has left the room. But beware, mystery without substance is an illusion. If you withdraw, but there is nothing profound within you, her imagination will quickly run dry. She may miss your absence for a moment, but soon she will see through the emptiness. This is why the deeper secret is self-transformation. You must become the kind of man whose life has depth, whose silence is filled with meaning, whose presence is rare because it is valuable. If your absence is to be felt, your presence must have weight. Otherwise, your distance is just emptiness. Let us consider another paradox. The more you need someone to miss you, the less they will. Why? Because longing cannot be forced. If your silence is a trick, she will sense the desperation beneath it. True longing only arises when absence is natural, when you withdraw not out of fear, but out of strength. This is why inner freedom is essential. If you can walk away, if you can detach, if you can live fully in your own solitude, then your absence carries power. But if you withdraw with trembling hands, checking your phone every few minutes to see if she reacts, then your absence is hollow. She may notice your silence, but she will not miss you. She will only feel your insecurity. This brings us to the conflict between desire and sense. Desire pulls us outward, sense pulls us inward. To make someone miss you, you must master both. Desire tempts you to chase, to seek constant validation, to prove yourself. Sense whispers that restraint is the true path, that dignity attracts more than desperation. Most men fail because they live only in desire, never in sense. They confuse attention with affection, noise with depth. But the wise man listens to sense, and in doing so, he awakens desire not by force, but by absence. Another trap lies in modern illusions. Today, social media has destroyed the natural rhythm of presence and absence. In the past, absence was inevitable. If someone disappeared, you could not know where they were. Mystery was natural. Today, we expose every moment online, reducing ourselves to a constant stream of availability. But constant exposure breeds indifference. To be missed in the modern world, you must resist the urge to broadcast your every thought, your every mood, your every movement. You must reclaim the sacredness of privacy, because what is hidden becomes magnetic, and what is constantly revealed becomes disposable. Now let us reflect on something uncomfortable. To make a woman miss you, you must be willing to awaken in her a subtle form of suffering. Longing is not pleasure, it is pain. It is the ache of absence, the discomfort of not knowing, the unease of incompleteness. Most men are too afraid to let a woman feel this pain. They rush in to comfort, to soothe, to erase the ache. But by erasing the ache, they erase the desire. If you truly want her to miss you, you must allow her to sit with that ache, to taste the bitterness of your absence. It will not destroy her, it will awaken her. For the heart only learns to value presence when it has endured absence. And yet this path demands courage. Because if you allow her to feel your absence, you must also be prepared for the possibility that she does not return. And this is where the secret lies. Your power does not come from making her miss you. It comes from being unafraid of being missed or forgotten. When you no longer cling to her response, when you no longer demand her validation, your presence transforms from ordinary to unforgettable. This is the paradox that most men cannot accept. You make someone miss you not by holding tighter, but by letting go completely. Let me leave you with a final reflection in this part. Missing someone is never about the other person. It is about the void they reveal within us. A woman misses you because your absence reminds her of her own longing, her own emptiness, her own vulnerability. You are the mirror, and the mirror is powerful, not because it is perfect, but because it reflects what is hidden within. If you can accept this, then you will see that the art of making someone miss you is not manipulation. It is the art of allowing space for their soul to feel. And in a world drowning in noise, distraction, and constant presence, that space is the rarest and most intoxicating gift you can give. Now, it is time to move from theory to practice. You have seen the psychological and philosophical roots of longing. But how do you apply this in your daily life so that a woman feels your absence, thinks about you, and begins to miss you, even if she was indifferent before? The answer lies not in cheap tricks, but in living differently. You must cultivate habits, rhythms, and ways of being that awaken desire naturally. What I am about to share are not tactics to manipulate, but practices to embody. When you live them, you create an aura of value, distance, and mystery that no one can ignore. The first practice is the discipline of silence. Most men fear silence. When she does not respond, they panic, sending another message, then another, drowning her in words. But silence is powerful because it is rare. Learn to wait. Do not answer instantly. Allow her the space to wonder where you are, what you are doing, why you are not reaching out. This is not punishment. It is respect for yourself. If you fill every silence, you leave no room for her to feel your absence. Make silence your ally, and you will see how quickly the imagination begins to work in your favor. The second practice is strategic presence. When you are with her, give your full attention. Look her in the eyes. Listen deeply. Make her feel the weight of your presence. Then, when you step away, the contrast becomes unbearable. If your presence is dull, your absence will not be felt. But if your presence carries depth, if you leave her with unfinished conversations, with laughter that still echoes after you've gone, then your absence becomes charged.